What is going on, guys? Joe here, and we're back. And why not come back with a recap of the Apple event announcing the new iPhone 14. So I'm gonna try to make this video as quick as possible and just give you the bits and pieces that you should know about of the Apple event and do a quick recap of everything that was announced today. So the Apple event started off with the Apple Watch Series 8 being announced. Now the Series 8 may seem very similar to the Series 7 with just some slight improvements. And those new improvements are to the health, safety, and connectivity departments. Starting off with the health, it now has a new temperature sensor that allows to, of course, sense temperature on your body. So with this new temperature sensor, it allows temperature sensing that works with cycle tracking to help better you understand your menstrual cycle. For those of you that have menstrual cycles, not myself, but yeah. Alongside temperature sensing, you also have blood oxygen level sensing. You can take an ECG on your wrist, be alerted if it detects unusual high or low heart rates or an irregular rhythm, and of course measures your current heart rate. It can also detect sleep stages. So all of this is very similar to the Series 7 besides the new temperature sensor. Now, if you do track your menstrual cycles, this may be a game changer because with the cycle tracking, it can do retrospective ovulation estimates. So that could be very helpful if that is information that you would want to know. Now, another key update is on safety, and that is with crash detection. The Series 8 now has crash detection that allows the Apple Watch to detect if you have been in a severe car crash. And when it does, it will automatically connect to emergency services, provide your location, and notify your emergency contacts. So it does this with new 2-motion sensors built inside the Apple Watch Series 8. It has an improved 3-axis gyroscope and a high G-force accelerometer that can detect up to 256 G-force. So it can detect front impact, side impact, rear end collision, and rollovers. It's a feature that can definitely be helpful, and hopefully you never have to use it. Now with the Series 8, you also now have international roaming. So if you have a cellular enabled Apple Watch, you can activate international roaming with your carrier and still be all connected when you're traveling international. Now you also get an updated processor for the Series 8, which is the SIP8 chip. And that is about all that is new with the Series 8 Apple Watch. Just like the Series 7, it comes in the 41mm and 45mm choices. It has an always-on Retina display up to 1000 nits of brightness, still water resistant up to 50 meters, and is swim proof, and it's IPX6X rated. Now they did mention with watchOS 9, you can now use all Nike watch faces across all Apple Watches. So if you are able to update to watchOS 9 on your Apple Watch, you can now have all the Nike watch faces, which is pretty cool. You don't have to get a specific Nike watch just to get those watch faces. But also speaking about watchOS 9, there's a new low power mode that is going to be available for Series 4 and later that can give you up to 36 hours of battery life on a full charge. So this maintains core features like the activity tracking and fall detection, but disables things like always on display and auto workout detection. But if you are interested in the Series 8, you can pick it up for $399 for the GPS version and $499 for the GPS with cellular version. It'll come in aluminum colors, midnight, starlight, silver, and product red, and stainless steel finishes, graphite, silver, and gold. You can order today on September 7th, and it'll be available on September 16th. Now moving along, they also announced an Apple Watch SE 2nd generation. This one is very, very similar to the Apple Watch SE 1st generation. Honestly, everything is the same besides it having a new chip, just like the Series 8. It actually has a Series 8 SIP8 chip built inside. So this will be 20% faster than the previous SE model and can do everything the original SE could do, but now includes crash detection just like the Series 8. And no changes have been made to the sizes. It still comes in a 40mm and a 44mm with a Retina display up to 1000 nits of brightness. Still water resistant up to 50 meters. You can track all of your activity and track your workouts. It has a high and low heart rate notification, emergency SOS, fall detection, cycle tracking. Now the SE 2nd generation will be coming in aluminum colors. You'll be able to choose midnight, starlight, or silver. And it'll start at $249 for the GPS version and $299 for the GPS with cellular version. So It's a nice entry-level Apple Watch. Now, they didn't stop there with Apple Watch announcements because they announced a new Apple Watch Ultra, which is going to be the most rugged Apple Watch with the largest screen size. The 49 millimeter, has a titanium case. It has precision dual frequency GPS, a customizable action button, and a long battery life. And it has the biggest and brightest display with up to 2000 nits of brightness. Now, the Apple Watch Ultra gives me a lot of G-Shock / Garmin type of vibes because of the bulkiness, ruggedness, and all of that good stuff. Now, because of all this ruggedness and bulkiness, it's going to be ideal for those that are more into, I would say, extreme type of sports, activities, things like that. This Apple Watch, like I said, is made from titanium and actually has a flat display. It's a 49 millimeter Apple Watch, so larger than all the other Apple Watches that we've ever seen. And it's also twice as bright as the Series 8 with the 2000 nit brightness display. And it has an exclusive Wayfinder watch face that features a live compass for navigation and night mode for low visibility conditions. So by rotating the digital crown, it has this really cool red night mode screen. So visibility will be easier when it comes to being out in the dark. Now, it does have precision dual frequencies, so an L1 and L5 GPS, whereas to the regular Apple Watch Series 8 and SE only have L1. And with the Ultra, you also have an action button now that is customizable, so you can program it to do different things while you're doing activities. Or let's say you're hiking, you can also set waypoints by just simply clicking on this button, so you can always track your location back to where you were at in case you get lost. And also, it has a depth gauge and water temperature sensor. There's going to be a new dive computer app that's going to be available in the App Store that gives you a lot more detail for those of you who are into that sort of stuff, into diving, scuba diving and things. So this watch is going to be a heavy duty rugged watch and not have to worry about damaging it or if it's capable of the rugged type of activities that you may be doing. It also has a dual speaker that's 40% louder than the Series 8 and a 3 mic array with beamforming and wind noise mitigation. It also has a siren feature in case you're lost somewhere in the darkness out of nowhere, but that siren can be heard up to 600 feet away. And it will have the largest battery out of all Apple Watches with up to 36 hours and up to 18 hours on LTE. Now, if you do use the new low power mode setting in watchOS 9, this is supposed to give you up to 60 hours of battery life. Now, all Apple Watch Ultras will start at $799, and it will include GPS with cellular, and you can actually order this today, September 7th, and available on September 23rd. It'll only come in one color, which is going to be the natural titanium color option, and I'm really pumped about this one. I really didn't think I would be into it, but after it was announced and was able to see it in action, I kind of started digging it. So let me know your thoughts on the new Apple Watch Ultra. Now, we also got some new AirPod Pros, the second generation AirPod Pros, and this was something I've been waiting for. My battery on my original Apple Pros are just trash now, but this new Apple Watch Pro 2nd Gen has a next gen H2 chip to help performance and connectivity. It has improved sound with its new low distortion audio driver and a custom amplifier. It also has personalized spatial audio with dynamic head tracking. You also have active noise cancellation that can block up to double the amount of noise now. You also get included extra small ear tips now, so if they didn't fit that well because they're too big, you can now try the extra small ear tips for better suction. There's a new adaptive transparency mode that dynamically reduces high decibel noise. Like, for example, they showed construction outside, so it'll reduce that when you have transparency mode on. There's also a new touch control feature that adds a capacitive sensing layer, allowing you to quickly change the volume with a simple swipe up or down on the stem of your AirPods. Now, these AirPod Pros do have improved battery life of up to 6 hours of listening time and up to 30 hours of total listening time with the MagSafe charging case. And speaking about the charging case, this new MagSafe charging case has an in-case speaker to help you find it by playing loud tones from it when using Find My. The speaker will also indicate when it's pairing, has low battery, or when charging has started. Now the AirPods Pros was able to charge wirelessly, and then they updated the charging case with MagSafe so it can easily magnetize to a MagSafe charger. But now you can also charge it with an Apple Watch charger. Now this case also has a built-in lanyard loop on the side of the case, so you can attach a lanyard, which I'm a big fan because I actually use a lanyard on my current AirPods Pros cases. But overall, I'm pumped about the AirPods Pro 2nd Gen. I'll be picking one of those up, but you can order them starting September 9th, and they'll be available on September 23rd. And they'll be priced at $249. Now on to the main things that we were for sure going to get at this event, which is the iPhone 14. This time, there is no more iPhone 14 mini, or no more mini at all. That had its run, had its time, and apparently there's no sales made as much as Apple wanted. So now they have an iPhone 14 and an iPhone 14 Plus, and the design is very similar to the iPhone 13s. And it even kept the A15 Bionic chip that you will find in the iPhone 13s. Now the iPhone 14 still has a 6.1 inch screen, while the 14 Plus has a larger 6.7 inch screen. And as you may predict, the Plus version will have the better battery life. Now, with it being a new iPhone, you'd expect it to have the latest iPhone chip, which is going to be the A16. But this time, they actually stuck with the A15 chip that's found in the iPhone 13. So it's been rumored, and now we got confirmed details that, in fact, it is using last generation's iPhone chip. Now, something that has been improved is going to be the cameras, because on the back you still get two cameras, which is going to be the ultra wide and a new 12 megapixel main camera with an f-stop of 1.5 and a sensor based stabilization. Apple says there's a 49% improvement in low light image quality and says that night mode is twice as fast now on these new iPhone 14s. On the front, there's actually a new 12 megapixel true depth camera with autofocus. And with these new cameras, Apple is applying its deep fusion image processing. So this would again improve low light performance and color rendering. And Apple's calling this whole technology Photonic Engine. Now, when it comes to video recording, it also gets a new stabilization mode called Action Mode that uses the whole sensor for gimbal-esque steadiness. So this seems pretty cool. I want to actually try this out myself. Now, aside from this, there's actually a new emergency SOS feature on both the 14 and 14 Plus, where you'll be able to make a connection via satellites so you can send out an emergency message even when you're out of range of cell signal. So the way this works is the phone's antennas can actually connect to satellite frequencies, and Apple says it's going to take less than 15 seconds to send a message, and that's if you have a clear view of the sky. But there is a new little interface that allows you to get a perfect sight of a satellite by simply looking around with your phone, and it'll detect where is the best direction to point your phone at and then allow the emergency service provider to work. Now, this is going to be a paid feature, but Apple is going to be giving it to you for free for the first 2 years with the purchase of an iPhone 14. Now, all US models on the 14s are actually going to go away with physical SIM trays. It's all going to be eSIM, which is something that has been rumored for a while, and now we actually have that. Now, lastly, you also have crash detection on the iPhone 14 and 14 Plus. So similar to the Apple Watch, when the iPhone detects a crash, it will alert emergency contacts along with emergency services. Now, the iPhone 14 and 14 Plus are going to be coming in 5 different colors: blue, purple, midnight, starlight, and product red. Now, the iPhone 14 will start at $799 for the 128 gigabyte, and the iPhone 14 Plus will start at $899 for the 128 gigabyte. Pre-orders do start on September 9th at 5 a.m. Pacific time, and they'll be available on September 16th for the iPhone 14, because the 14 Plus actually is not going to be available until October 7th. But what are your thoughts on the 14 and 14 Plus? Are you happy they actually made a less expensive Plus model or a larger iPhone that's less than $1,000? Let me know in the comments below. But to end the show, they announced the new iPhone 14 Pro and iPhone 14 Pro Max. Now this one I'm actually kind of excited for because of the new dynamic island. The 14 Pro and Pro Max has gone away with the notch and now has introduced this new pill-shaped cutout that can adjust dynamically. But unlike the 14 and 14 Plus, the 14 Pro and 14 Pro Max has a new updated A16 Bionic chip and has an always-on display. Now the 14 Pro will have a 6.1-inch display, while the Pro Max has the 6.7-inch display. But like I said, the notch is now replaced with the pill-shaped cutout, and that is where all the components for Face ID will sit and your front-facing camera. So Apple has actually moved the proximity sensor behind the display, and now the notifications will pop out of the notch in an animation, which is pretty slick. So this feature is called Dynamic Island. So whenever it comes to notification, alerts, it'll all adapt and move around the pill-shaped notch. And I was kind of amazed of how they're showing it. As they're showing more and more features with it, I kind of understood the whole concept of it. But because it's an OLED display, it's able to turn everything black and blends in very well to the notch. So for example, if you set a timer, it'll show up at the top. If you have a phone call, it'll simply display it up on top as well. Or if you're playing music, you can have your controls easily disappear in there and then just tap on it and it'll display the controls. It seems like a really cool little feature. Now aside from this, there is a new always on display. So when it comes to the new lock screen and widgets on the lock screen in iOS 16 with the new always on display, you can still see that information without having to turn on your phone or wake up your phone and use battery. Even the wallpapers are able to go to a sleep state whenever you're using the always on display on the 14 Pros. Now inside, it is packing a brand new A16 Bionic chip that's only on the 14 Pro and Pro Max. Now this new chip has a faster 6-core CPU and 50% more memory bandwidth with the 5-core GPU. Now with this A16 chip, it also helps with the new camera system. So it's been a long time since we've seen improvements as far as megapixels come to an iPhone. But this year on the 14 Pro and Pro Max, the main camera sensor has been upgraded from a 12 megapixel sensor to now a 48 megapixel sensor. With this new camera, you have improvements on low light photography and has an aperture of 1.78 and a 24 millimeter focal length. Now, as far as the ultra wide and telephoto camera, those have stuck to the 12 megapixel, but with the A16 Bionic chip, Apple does say the telephoto should be up to 2 times better in low light, and the ultra wide camera should be up to 3 times better in low light photos as well. Now with the 48 megapixel sensor, you are able to shoot in Pro RAW as well. Now when it comes to video recording, it can do 4K HDR in cinematic mode up to 30 frames per second, which is an improvement from last year's 1080p. Now it can also shoot ProRes of up to 4K at 30 frames a second and still record up to 4K at a frame rate of 24, 25, 30, or 60. Now you also get a new action mode that gives you more of a stabilized video. Now with all the new updates, including the always on display, the new A16 Bionic chip, and all the other features in the 14 Pro and Pro Max, Apple says that this should also still have all-day battery life. Now looking a little closer, the 14 Pro should have about up to 23 hours of video playback, up to 20 hours of video playback if it's streamed, or up to 75 hours of audio playback. And when it comes to the 14 Pro Max, video playback will be up to 29 hours, video playback streamed is up to 25 hours, and audio playback will be up to 95 hours. Of course, this kind of stuff all depends how you use your device on a daily basis. But it looks like from the 13 Pro and Pro Max now to 14 Pro and Pro Max, you do get a very slight upgrade in battery life. But those are the new features included in the new iPhone Pro series. Just like the 14 and 14 Plus, it also includes crash detection and emergency SOS. Every feature that has, this one will have as well. Now these two new devices will come in a stainless steel finish, in 4 different colors. Deep purple, which is the new grape-like purple, looks pretty cool. You also have gold, silver, and a new space black. The 14 Pro will start at $999 for 128 gigabytes, while the 14 Pro Max will start at $1,099 for 128 gigabytes. These will go up to 1 terabyte again, just like last year's iPhone 13 Pro series, and pre-orders start at 5 a.m. Pacific time, September 9th, and they'll be available on September 16th. But that is all that was announced. We have new Apple Watches, we have new AirPods Pros, new 14, 14 Plus, and 14 Pro, and 14 Pro Max. I hope this recap video helped you out in seeing what Apple announced today, and you didn't have to sit through an hour-and-a-half long event. I want to try to make it as condensed as possible, but we still hit 20 minutes. But I want to know, what are you getting? Are you going to be upgrading to any of these new devices, or are you going to be staying with what you have? Let me know if you'd like to see a video on any of these devices. I'll be picking up a few of them, so leave those comments down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. But as always, if you did enjoy this video and it was helpful, let me know by hitting that like button, as it not only lets me know that you liked it, but it also shows support to the channel. Also, if you're not yet following on social media, I actually post on TikTok now, and Instagram, of course, and Twitter. Go ahead and follow me on those. I'll leave those linked down below. But even though I haven't been posting here on YouTube, I have been posting on those platforms, so feel free to follow. That way you'll be up to date, and definitely gonna get this channel up and running because we've been MIA and miss you guys for sure. So comment down below. I'd love to interact with you guys, or send me a message on social media. Oh, and also be sure to hit that subscribe button and hit that notification bell. That way you're always alerted whenever I drop a new video. But other than that, thanks a lot for watching, guys. I appreciate your support very much, and I'll catch you all on the next one. All right, peace.